You want with Nikki, the nitty gritty, even if it's shitty. This is to a person on Abashwe's page who called my house a madhouse. By the way, Abashwe, I'm so sorry. I assumed you were a girl because currently your profile picture is that of a beautiful girl who I believe is Xhosa, maybe Zulu. And, you've got a beautiful girl also as your background. So I just assumed you were a girl. Sorry, dude. I am following you on YouTube. I know you're a guy. By the way, it's not to say I agree with everything on Abashwe's page, but I just want to also stand up for him and say, if you think he's a hater or whatever, remember, South Africans were pushed to this. This fight didn't start for us now. This started decades ago. We have paid decades and decades of a price for a lot of the illegal activity in our country, and we're fighting a battle on both fronts against our own corrupt officials and against corrupt people from other places who bribe them. And we are just trying to raise the vibration here, okay? So there's a saying that goes, don't ever put me in a situation where I have to step out of character, because I'll show you some colors you didn't know came in the crayon box. So if you guys think Abashwe goes too far, I understand we're all entitled to our own opinion, but on the other hand, if you can't handle the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Okay, but to the guy who called my house a mud house, I just wanted to say, shout out to all the people in mud houses. I would be so proud if I could be so resourceful. I would be so proud if I could be so resourceful as to be able to build myself a whole home out of a natural resource, right? Make it beautiful, make it elegant, without paying a cent for that natural resource. That if I were able to maintain and build a house like that, these are South African houses, many of them made out of mud, sustainable material, I would be so proud. And I've driven past many of these houses on the way to Eswatini, nah? But I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to humble me in your mind because you thought that I'm defined by material possessions. But I would like to remind you that I'm a South African. I'm a South African. Okay? And by the way, a mud house doesn't always have to look glamorous to everybody outside. It doesn't. Because people who live in mud houses are internally focused. They're not doing that to impress you. They're internally focused. They don't need to compensate for anything and for anybody else. Many of you may look at this and assume these people are poor or whatever. Let me tell you what I have experienced. Me, who often spends time in the richest square mile in Africa. Okay, this is Sandton. Wealthiest square mile in Africa. Don't take my word for it. There it is on your screen, right? I love Sandton. There are some beautiful, warm people there. But there are some of these places that have a wealth that you clearly don't know about. Because in these places, there is love, there is family, there is loyalty, there is nature. They don't need to go to Woolworths to get milk. They go straight to the cow. They don't need to go to Woolworths to get organic vegetables. They plant organic vegetables, okay? They don't need to impress you. And I'm telling you now that I have been there. I've been there to places like this. And I'm telling you now, some of us might live in cities. It may look shiny to you on the surface like this, right? But we're sitting there eating Provitas with our last Rama, okay? In those houses, they're eating freshly slaughtered meat. They're having a braai and a potjie every night. There is an actual wealth there that isn't, not all that glitters is gold. Not all that glitters is gold. And I'm comfortable in both spaces because I'm a South African and because I know who raised me. Now, I'm assuming that you said mud house because I happen to have a gas stove. It is a privilege to have a gas stove. It is financially sensible. I think also you think poverty means those things over there. What those things are called is books. And I suggest you read them. I want to show you what I've done with my books. These ones are all the diaries I've ever had since I was about 12, okay? Amongst them, you see what you see over here? Maps. Maps of places I have traveled to, okay? If you're not clear what cities these are, what city this is, okay? I've been there, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I used these things you associate with poverty to go to all of these places just in case you don't believe me. And by the way, to me, poverty is not when I do and don't have money, because I've had my Morvite days. I've had days of sleeping on the floor. I've had all of those, but all of those were by choice. I've also had other experiences. I've had days where I had nothing to sleep on but the dirty clothes that I had, because I gave everything I owned away, and there was a reason for that. I'm goal orientated. I'm a South African. I'm a typical average South African. And I used the skills that I learned in the township of Innerdale, by being a Sunday school teacher. I had dreams when I was a kid in those books that you call mud houses. By the way, there's nothing wrong with mud houses. I'm currently not a Christian, but when I was a Christian, this was my scripture book. I started it at grade 10. Every single scripture that I thought was beautiful and important to me, I used to write out, sometimes in different translations over there, to decide what kind of woman I was going to be. Okay, this is one of my goal-orientated books as an adult. Okay, just one of them, where I wrote quotes to inspire myself. Okay, you call that poverty because you don't understand wealth. I am a child of Johannesburg, a granddaughter of people of Kimberley. We live on gold and diamonds. Okay, I'm going to tell you that as a teenager, I had a very clear vision. I wrote all my goals in this book. I made them very clear. I knew exactly, I used to paste things from the newspaper. I knew exactly what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go, right? And I told myself very clearly, and exactly which industry I wanted to work in. And I put pictures there of who I was going to be. And I knew exactly what I was going to do. And one of the main things that I put in there, I just want to show you. I'm going to show you receipts of what I accomplished, right? I decided when I was a teenager, in Innerdale and in Hillbrow, I used to live between both, that I was going to travel the world and I was going to make other people pay for it. In case you're wondering whether or not I have achieved that, and I want to make it clear, these are the skills I gained in the townships, and any township child can do this. These are the places that I have been. Now, just in case you're wondering what our fight is about.
Whenever and wherever I have traveled,
Ow.
I have
Where's the
been
volume?
expected.
Where's the volume, Nikki? Let's start again. What we've been saying as a country, no matter how hot it's getting in Abashwe's kitchen, there was a reason, and some people need to take some accountability. Okay?
Whenever and wherever I have traveled, I have been expected to provide police clearance to prove that I'm not likely to do a crime in the nation I'm visiting. I have always handed in my documentation for work permits, such as health checks, psych checks, x-rays, and the like. Why is this suddenly an issue when it comes to South Africa?
I want to make that perfectly clear. You're not clear who you're talking to. You guys don't have a clear vision. You guys don't see these things. But no, like right now, I may not be living in the lap of luxury, but I'm living where I choose. As I said, South Africans, many of us know the value of true value. I have been in the townships, I've been in the hood, and I've seen a level of love there that I don't necessarily see in the suburbs. It depends on the suburb, depends on the person. You know? I've lived a life like many South Africans, I'm very average, that has straddled both. And these things have made me resourceful. As a South African, we're resourceful because we can hold our own in the top boardrooms. We can hold our own in the roughest streets. Okay? We are accustomed to a certain level of excellence. A certain level of excellence, and that is what we're aiming for here. We are saying that enough is enough, that entry and acceptance into our society is conditional upon people being held to the same standards that we are being held to. That has unfortunately been mischaracterized as xenophobic. As for Abashwe, I know stuff gets hot in his kitchen. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I will say it again. South Africans were pushed. South Africans were pushed. Okay? There's a context to everything. Don't ever put people into a situation where they have to step out of character because they'll show you some colors you didn't know were in the crayon box. Okay? I'm not saying I defend everything. I'm saying I understand where it comes from. If you can't handle it, don't start with someone. Nuance with Nikki, the nitty gritty, even if it's shitty.
So, guys, you know all those things I said that I achieved as a township child and as a Hillbrow child? I also want that for people like Pindile's son.
Manje food and we are cool.
Identity theft has robbed this boy of, I think he said he wanted to be a UFC champion. UFC champion. Okay, now I've got a video coming out very soon on my channel that's got a lot of different identity theft people in. Joel and Veer, and thousands of other students at Stellenbosch University who can't get their grants due to identity theft. Everyday people like this gentleman who is in extreme debt due to identity theft. His name is Ishmael. His name isn't known. We live with multiple Ishmaels every day. Man like Raymond Diasi, arrested for a crime he didn't commit because of identity theft. Nah. A woman married without her consent, Zama and Tetwa, she went into a depression because of identity theft and how she can't access her UIF. She doesn't have mobility around her employment. This mom is too afraid to show her face. She was also arrested unfairly because of identity theft. She's unemployed. Nah? Sitembiso Ndlovu. We have hope for Sitembiso. He's an unemployed father of two. Because of identity theft, he can't support his children. He has been registered dead without his consent while he's not dead. That person was also a criminal. Nkosazana Dlamini, because of identity theft, she cannot finish her matric. And she represents so many children in my country. And she said, she's feeling demotivated. This video is coming out soon on my channel with some new footage in between. Okay, so it's easy to call a country xenophobic, but to us, these names that you don't know are represented by what Chidima Adechina and her family did. And we're asking her family to show accountability. That is all we are asking. Show up to Home Affairs, show up to the case, and own up to it. We could not let it go that far after these millions of people immigration. And so maybe we snapped. Maybe our tone wasn't what you wanted it to be. But this is what's going on for us.
You don't understand. This is deeper than you think. And this is why I'm saying you guys are manipulative. Because the minute we call you all out, it's xenophobia. It's not. A bit of accountability from your side is needed. Because focus on your political...
As the people who built her up, as the people who made her what she is. You guys said the stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. I'm here to tell you that the stone that the builders rejected has become second place to Miss Denmark. Okay? But the builders rejected her because she was built on a crack foundation. That is not her fault. She's unfairly collateral damage. But so are all of these people represented here who represent millions. Millions in South Africa. Absolutely millions. And there is nothing you can do in South Africa without your identity. Okay? There's absolutely nothing.
It's estimated that every 2 seconds, someone's identity is stolen.
And they can fix this. They can fix this with accountability. But they're hiding. So I challenge you, those of you who are willing to open the eyes and not just demonize my whole country as xenophobes, I challenge you to accountability now. You want to take the moral high ground? Here it is. Here it is. Call out that family. Get them back to South Africa. Let them stand trial. Nuance with Nikki. Those with a spine will hear.